My neighbor Jessica, she's 29, works as a marketing manager making $65,000, came over last week holding her phone with this confused look on her face. She'd been scrolling through investment advice on TikTok and asked me the question that made my stomach drop. Everyone says buy the dip and be contrarian, but when I try to time the market, I keep losing money. What am I doing wrong? I realized she was making the same mistake 97% of people make. They think contrarian investing is about when you buy. It's not. Here's the thing. I spent 3 years thinking I was being contrarian by buying stocks when they crashed. 2018, 2020, early 2022. I'd see red everywhere and think I was so smart going against the crowd. But every month, I was still sending $2,000 to other people who owned things. $1,200 in rent to my landlord, $350 for my car payment to the bank, $180 to Netflix, Spotify, and a gym membership. Another $300 on food from restaurants and grocery stores I didn't own. I was being contrarian for maybe 10 minutes a month when I bought stocks. The other 99.9% of the time, I was following the herd straight into someone else's pocket. That's when it hit me. The real contrarian move isn't about market timing. The real contrarian move is flipping who gets paid first. Most people pay everyone else first, then invest what's left over. That's following the herd. That's what keeps you renting your life from people who own things. The contrarian does the opposite. You pay yourself first, before rent, before groceries, before everything. And I mean that literally. Let me tell you about Marcus. He's a teacher in Philadelphia, makes $48,000 a year. 3 years ago, he was drowning. Credit card debt, living paycheck to paycheck, the whole mess. Then he started doing something that seemed insane to everyone around him. Every time he got paid, before he touched a single bill, he moved $200 into a brokerage account and bought shares of an index fund. His friends thought he was crazy. Dude, you can barely afford rent. But here's what happened. Because he paid himself first, he had to get creative with everything else. He found a roommate, started meal prepping, canceled subscriptions he forgot he had. The scarcity forced him to become efficient with money he was already wasting. 3 years later, Marcus has $22,000 invested. More importantly, he learned something the other 97% never figure out. You don't build wealth with leftover money. There is no leftover money. You build wealth by making wealth the priority, then figuring out how to live on what remains. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what if I can't afford to pay myself first? That's exactly the point. If you can't afford to pay yourself $50 or $100 first, you definitely can't afford to stay broke. Look at the numbers. The median American household has $5,300 in savings after 20 years of working. But the same household spends $63,000 a year. That's $5,250 every month flowing out to people who own businesses, real estate, intellectual property. You're already choosing. You're choosing to pay other people's mortgages instead of your own investments. The contrarian realizes this is a choice. Here's where it gets interesting. Wall Street wants you to think contrarian investing is about stock picking and market timing. Complex charts, economic indicators, quarterly earnings reports. That's not contrarian. That's just gambling with extra steps. The real contrarian insight is behavioral. It's about becoming the person who gets paid, not the person who pays. Every subscription you own pays dividends to someone else. Every rent check builds someone else's wealth. Every restaurant meal funds someone else's business. The contrarian asks, how do I get on the other side of these transactions? I made this shift 4 years ago. Started paying myself first, then got obsessed with owning pieces of the businesses I was already paying. I couldn't afford to buy rental property, so I bought REITs. I couldn't start a restaurant, so I bought shares in the companies that supply restaurants. I couldn't build the next Netflix, so I bought the index funds that own Netflix. The result? My investment account went from $3,000 to $47,000. But that's not the real win. The real win is I stopped feeling like money was something that happened to me. When you pay yourself first, you become the main character in your financial story instead of an extra in everyone else's. Think about that for a second. Right now, your biggest monthly payments probably go to a landlord, a car company, and subscription services. You're funding their wealth while hoping your employer gives you enough scraps to survive. That's not a strategy. That's a trap. The contrarian escape route is simple. Before you pay anyone else, pay the person who matters most, you. Now, if you're someone who gets a steady paycheck but feels like you're running on a financial treadmill, if you're tired of building everyone else's wealth while your own account stays flat, this is for you. Tonight, before you go to bed, open your banking app. Set up an automatic transfer for the day after your payday. Start with $50, $100, whatever makes you slightly uncomfortable. Make it automatic so you can't talk yourself out of it. That's the whole move. That's how you become a real contrarian.